All right, let's just get right into it. Most of us think the big battles in life are fought out there in the world, fighting for a promotion, for success, for some kind of recognition. But what if the real battle, the one for a truly meaningful life, isn't against the world at all? What if it's actually against our own habits?
Now, this quote right here, this is interesting because it just flips the script on everything we've been taught about achievement. This one idea is really the heart of what we're talking about today. It's not about the big, lofty goals you set, but the small, daily systems you build to actually get there.
I mean, we love the myth of the genius, right? Or the lucky break. We tell ourselves that success is all about having some incredible talent or off the charts intelligence. But the reality, when you actually look at it, is something far more within our control. As you can see, real, sustainable success is almost always the result of well managed daily habits. So let's start with this first big idea, the real battle within. Because if success is really all about habits, well, then it makes sense that failure or, lost potential is about habits too. People aren't failing because they're not smart enough or talented enough. They're getting stuck because they're caught in these patterns that just quietly drain all their energy and focus. And that brings us to our next point, the invisible saboteurs. Now, we're not talking about the big, obvious stuff here. The most dangerous habits are often the ones we barely even see, the ones that feel totally normal, day in and day out. Just take a look at this list. I mean, come on, does any of this feel a little familiar? Procrastination, constant distraction, that mindless, endless scroll on your phone. None of these things feel like a huge deal in the moment, but when you add them up over time, they are quietly stealing years from our lives. So how do these little things get so powerful? Well, it's all because of something called the habit loop. See, every single time you repeat one of these actions, you're basically carving a deeper path in your brain. You do it enough, and that path becomes so well worn that it's just automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. It's just what you do. Okay, and this is where it gets really, really fascinating. We tend to think bad habits stick around because, well, they feel good, right? But that's not the whole picture. The real reason we do them is something else entirely. And here it is. This is the core insight. Most of these draining habits, they aren't really about finding pleasure. They're about avoiding pain. They're a way to check out, to numb ourselves from the things we just don't want to feel. So, what are we running from exactly? Well, it's usually this stuff: boredom, stress, fear, responsibility. Your phone, that show you binge watched, that mindless routine, all of it offers a quick, temporary escape from the discomfort of doing the hard but important things. And that's the trap, isn't it? Every single time you choose to escape, the problem you're avoiding doesn't magically disappear. It just grows. You're not solving anything. You're just handing it more and more power over your life. Okay, so that's the problem. It's pretty clear, and yeah, it's a little scary. So what's the solution? Well, it all starts with a simple but really difficult first step. You have to turn around and actually face the thing you've been running from.
Now, this is absolutely crucial. You can't just create a vacuum in your life. Your brain hates that. If you just try to stop doing something, you'll almost always fall right back into it, or you'll just find another, probably equally bad habit to fill that empty space.
So, the only way to do this is to consciously trade up. Instead of just giving in to distraction, you actively choose to focus. Instead of reaching for easy comfort, you choose discipline. And instead of avoidance, you choose to take deliberate action. And that leads us to the next really powerful idea. If you want to build a life of discipline and action, you don't start with some massive, heroic act. Nope. You start much, much smaller. This is so important, I can't stress it enough. We all dream about that one big win, that huge success that will change everything. But real, lasting change, it doesn't start there. It starts with the mundane, boring stuff. It begins with taking responsibility for the small things in your life. Think of this slide as your personal training plan. Every one of these small actions, cleaning up that messy corner, finally answering that email you've been dreading, finishing a task you've put off for weeks, it's like doing a rep at the gym for your discipline muscle. They seem tiny, but they're training your brain to move toward responsibility, not away from it. So let's pull all of this together in our last section. Your future is today. The life you'll have tomorrow isn't going to be shaped by some grand decision you make way down the road. It's being forged right now by the thousands of tiny choices you're making today. We're all guilty of this, right? Waiting for motivation to strike like a bolt of lightning. But motivation, it's a fickle friend. It comes, it goes. Discipline, though, that's the bedrock. That's what you do whether you feel like it or not, and that is what actually builds a life.
And really, that's the whole game right there. That's the definition of managing yourself. It's not about being the most brilliant or the most talented person in the room. It's about being the person who does the work, especially when they really don't want to.
So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this one question. Every single action you repeat is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. The choices you're making right now are compounding into your future. So, what direction are you building in? The decision right now is yours.